Keisha from CRT Insights Technologies. We are a Gold partner of Acumatica, and today I'll be sharing with you an overview demo of the Acumatica Cloud ERP system. So the items that I'll be covering today is the user experience, user interface. We'll be doing an order-to-invoice sample, and I'll be covering the CRM portion of the system. Then we'll move on to the mobile interface, followed by the approval process, and finish off with the reporting module. So before we begin, a couple of things I'd like to point out. Acumatica is a browser-based solution. So it means that you can access the critical information that lies in the Acumatica system anytime, anywhere, and on any device, as long as you have access to the internet. Acumatica is a role-based offering system. So users will actually have access only to the functions that the user role has been assigned. And that keeps the critical information only pertinent to what they need to do. Acumatica is a multi-currency, multi-company system, but for today's demo, we'll only be using one entity. And everything that you see today is based on the out-of-box functionality of Acumatica. So with that, I'm just going to log into the system here. So I'll be using an admin account today to show all the functionalities and the modules that are in the system. Okay. So the first thing that I want to cover is the dashboard. So once you log in, you'll see this very colorful and interesting dashboard. So the dashboard is made up of widgets. What it is essentially is an unlimited number of reports on one page. So you have access to critical information related to your role, all within one page without having to run additional reports. And all these reports are live based on live data, and every single one of it is drillable. So for example, if I were to look into the late orders, I can just click here and it'll take me to the information that I want to see. Okay, so coming back to this, the dashboard is customizable. So clicking on design, I'll be able to add in widgets, edit widgets. I can also add in the different color codings for the different thresholds. So for example, red is something that we have to look at urgently, and whereas we have blue and green that we can come back at later. There are different types of widgets. So these are more of the scorecard widgets. We also have the charts, the lists, and we also can add in embedded web pages and wiki pages. So one nice thing about this company view dashboard is, for example, if I were to look for a client, oh, apologies for that. Let me see. So immediately, what it does is it filters the results based on this one client. I get a 360 view of this client pertaining to all the reports that I have. And dashboard is customizable to the user, the layouts, the thresholds, as I mentioned earlier, and the types of widgets. So the users can see the information that they want and how they want it. So another neat feature of the dashboard module I wanted to show is the flow. So for example, if I were to look into the CRM flow, and this is what we will get. So in the instance where you have maybe a new staff who is not familiar with the processes and procedures in the company, all they have to do is rely on the flow and look at where they are at. So let's say I have a new sales staff and then or I am a new sales staff and I have a new lead. I don't know where to go. All I have to do is just come into this flow, click on the leads function, and it will take me to where I need to input my information. So this is a very useful function, especially as I mentioned, if you have a new staff who is not familiar with the processes. But in essence, what it does is it standardizes the process flow. So you don't have people missing out steps where they need to take them or doing the wrong step at the wrong time. Okay. So the next function that I want to share is regarding the universal search. So I'm just going to go back to my main page here. So this universal search bar, as the name mentions, is a universal search. You can search for anything as long as the data lives within the system and you have access to it. For example, if I were to search for our favorite customer here, USA bar, and it will show up information pertaining to this particular customer account. So I'll see all these contact details, the documents, sales orders, shipment orders, invoices, and even the company profile. And the neat thing about this is that you can search for different variations and still actually find the results that you need. For example, if I remember my client's name, but I don't remember the company. So I'm going to search for my customer here. And it's going to take me to the contact. And even if I were to search for a partial phone number, for example, it's still going to show up. And the other features of this universal search here is we have menu items. Menu items, which will show up the forms and transactions that you can do on the system, such as the sales order forms and the reports. Transactions and profiles, as I showed earlier, are more for customer profiles or may even inventory IDs. Help topics will actually give you the different knowledge-based articles, like how do I enable a sales order or in the company. As long as it lives within our knowledge base, it will show up here. And files will show up anything that is attached to any entry on the system. So as you navigate through the Acumatica system, one of the most used functions of the system would be the workspaces that we have over here. So workspaces are sorted out by functionality. They are based on roles. For example, a salesperson will not have access to the AR functions and the finance functions. Whereas because I'm using an admin account, as I mentioned earlier, I have access to all the different functions that we have here. This is also configurable to the user how they would like to see it. So I can drag and drop the different functionalities. Example, if I mainly work on sales, then I can bring the sales order up, or I can push it down lower if I'm in the finance department, etc. And once I click onto the workspace here, what I can see are the tiles, which are more of a quick action button to take you to the different forms that you use on a daily basis or very regularly. And then I also have the list of all the other items. And this is a quick menu, but I can also use the full menu to see even more items that are inside this module and functionality. So one nice feature about this is if I were to click on a tile, it would actually take me directly to the form. Whereas if I were to click on this entry here, it will take me to the list of sales orders. So for example, if I were to do this, I can open it in a new tab or in a new window. So we'll go ahead and open it in a new tab. As you can see, it will give me a list of all the sales orders. And also because I can open it on tabs, then I can open multiple tabs. For example, the shipping lists together with the inventory list while I work on a sales order perhaps. So coming back to this workspace menu, oh, sorry. Coming back to this workspace menu, one other feature I like to show is the ability to add it to favorites. So example, I use sales orders very frequently. All I have to do is just hover above it and click on the star. And this yellow star highlighted indicates that it's been added to my favorites. So once I've added to my favorites, if I were to go here, it would show up under the sales orders here. The Acumatica system is very intuitive and it's very user-friendly. And I say user-friendly because a lot of the functions you can configure from a user standpoint rather than having to involve a developer to come in and do these fixes for you. So for example, if I were to set up a filter, let's do purchases. So if I wanted to filter information and entries, I don't have to rely on an external developer or maybe even an in-house developer, but I don't have to rely on somebody else to create a filter for me. And this gets added directly into the system. So I'll do a filter here to show you how it works. Order total. And then I'm going to do greater than. 20,000. And then I'll save it as above 20K. And immediately my filter is shown here. And because I've saved this filter, I can come back at any time to look at the spreadsheet the way that I want it to be seen as well. So what this does is it actually gives a lot of autonomy to the user to see the information that they want in the way they want it. So another feature that I like to cover is the automation schedules. So for example, you are an AP clerk and you want to prepare payments, but you want to set it on an automation schedule so that certain payments can be processed automatically and cutting you time and letting you be more efficient. So I'll set one up here. Let's see, we'll do check. Oops, did it? Okay, there we go. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add in an automation schedule here. Now see this form that asks me for my criteria to set up the automation. So let's see, we'll do weekly. And the system will tell me when is the next execution date. Of course, I can override that manually by clicking on here. I can also set it whichever day of the week that I want, or otherwise I can do it monthly or by financial period. And then I can add the conditions that I want. And I can also add the filter values, so I can basically put it within my control to see, you know, for example, which currency invoices that I would like to have it automated. Right, and all I have to do from here is save and close. Okay, I've missed out the description. So it's a good thing that popped up. So I can also show you that, you know, the system is very smart. It will point out to you where you missed out things, and that really drastically reduces the margin for human error, as you've seen. Okay, save and close. And we're all done. So by doing this process, what it does is it actually, well, this function is not only for preparing of payments, but for other routine activities that you can schedule ahead of time. And it really does help to increase the efficiency and also reduce the probability of missing deadlines, which, you know, essentially it gives you more time for the more important things, or, or the more important functions that you have to do. All right, we are moving on to the highlight of our demo. So I'll be showing you the order to invoice process. And because Acumatica is a fully integrated system, it will support you from all the way from the sales floor to your manufacturing, warehousing, invoicing, up to, you know, the consolidating the dollars in your bank. Okay, let's go ahead and put in a new sales order. So I'll come here and I'll do a new sales order here. All right, so we're going to put in our customer name and as you can see, our format here is a header and footer format. So this is the header section, and then you have the detail section over here. And all the forms that you see in Acumatica have the same layout. This makes it very fast for users to pick up. So your employees will not actually feel like, you know, it's very overwhelming when they're starting to use the system. And one nice thing about the forms is that it is also highly configurable by the user. So for example, I can expand, basically just drag and drop the different items. For example, if I were to shift branch over here, I can also remove different fields. Let's say I don't like sales items, and we never give away sales items, any free items anyway. So we'll just go ahead and remove it, and it's gone. So it gives a lot of autonomy on the users to work in a way that they're familiar with. For example, if you are high on Excel usage, then this would be pretty much very similar to what you do already on a daily basis. So the user adoption rate would be much, much faster. Okay. And earlier, I've actually entered in my customer account here. From here, what I can do is, let's say I would like to look into my company, my client's details. Just click on this little pencil icon here. And I'll be able to look up the customer account with all the details. Yeah, with all the details that are tagged to the account. It gives you access to a lot of information very quickly. So I'll show you how the sales order process goes. So I'm going to add a row here, and there are a couple of ways you can do this. For a large order, what you can do is you can directly import it, load the records from a file. Let's say you have an Excel file and the customer wants to buy 50 items. You can basically use this to just import a large order. But I'll just do one simple order here today to show you. Okay, I can directly type in the item code, if I remember it, or I can type in the item name and the search will show up my options. But what I want to emphasize is this function here. So we have this add stock item, and what add stock item does is it actually shows you the list of items that this particular customer has bought. So for example, I'm going to do sold to this customer since June 2016. And it will show me all the different things that we sold to this particular customer. So it really helps the sales process, because this is a very good tool for upselling and cross-selling, because you can look at, when's the last time they made an order of a particular item. For example, if it's a consumable item, then you know that maybe they're running out of it. So you can ask them if they want to add in that order as well. And you can also see how much they bought previously. So, it makes it, it makes the sales process that much more enhanced. So for example, I'm going to add an Acer laptop here. Okay, so immediately this will show me the updated unit price. And if I wanted to, then I could enter in the manual discount and the shipping information and etc. Let's say an order of 3. So once I keyed in the quantity of 3, you actually see that the order total has been updated. And from here, I could actually drill into the item to look at the item specs. I can see all the information related to this particular item, which vendor we got it from, which warehouse it is, the price to cost information. And if you notice, once I've added the item, this information bar popped up where I can, at one glance see how much stock we have. And if it's not enough, then of course we'll have to put in a purchasing order, how many are available for shipping, and etc. So once we've added this item into our sales order, we'll go ahead to fill in the shipping settings. So Acumatica is integrated with the logistics and freight platform. So I just have to click on shop for rates. And basically what this does is it will give me all the different freight options that we have available for this particular item to this client. So I'm going to go ahead and use UPS Ground. And it will show me the estimated delivery date. And all right, now I can see how many boxes I need. I need 1 medium box, and it will all fit into 1 medium box. That's great. Okay, we're just going to click OK here. And shipping terms, CFR will include insurance. If I wanted to do Saturday delivery, I could. And after we've done with the shipping settings, we'll go on to do the payment settings. So if you noticed, the balance has already been updated to include the freight charges once we've done the shipping settings. The Acumatica platform is integrated with the authorized.net token system. So if I wanted to use Visa or MasterCard, it will be tokenized. And I'll show you an example. For example, if I were to go to Visa, it's a new card. So I have different options here, such as authorized credit card payment. And this is for pre-authorized transactions. So if a customer has a card on file, I'll use that function. But also the capture credit card payment function, which is, well, what it does is it gives you a way to process the transaction as a counter sales. So you don't have a pre-authorized card for transaction. You have a new card, you can use this function. Or maybe it's a new customer and they don't want to keep their record on file, then you can just use this function. But for today, we'll just use the check. There you go. Right. So after I've done the shipping and the payment settings, what I want to do next is I want to email this sales order to my customer. So the system will pick out the customer's email address on file, and send the email over just by one click of the button. And what you see is right now there's a bracket 1 behind activities, and that's where the record of my email went to. So to show you a sample of how the email looks like, there, the sales order, and the sales order itself is attached as a PDF file. So we've completed adding in our sales order. The next step we want to do is to create the shipment. So on this pop-up, what I can do is I can choose which date I actually want the item to go out, but we'll stick to today's date. All right, so this will take me to the shipments function. And here is where you'll be able to print out your pick list and also to set automation schedules if you want this that could be automated. So I'll go ahead to show you how we can get the pick list actions and click on print pick list. And the system will already generate it for me. So coming back to shipments, I could also print the labels for the shipment as well. Or another way is that we can confirm the shipment. Right, and now that my shipment has been confirmed, you'll see that there is one file attached over here. And this would be the print label. And even on the list version, you can see that the attachment has been put in here as well. Okay, so our order has been sent out. And I forgot the most important part. So once we've sent it out, of course, the next step would be to prepare the invoice. I think I'll get fired for sending out items without having to collect payment. So with that, the system is actually preparing the invoice. And right now I've moved into the invoice function. So this is the order from earlier. And I am going to send this invoice over to my client. Right, and then the activities pop up again. So once I've sent it to my client, I'm going to release the invoice. And what this does is it will go into then my accounting module. That's done. And as I mentioned, it goes into your accounting module. So I'll show you the, let's see, it should go into the, There. And again, because everything is live on the system, I'll be able to drill in to all the information that I need from here. So as I've just shown you the sales to order process, straight from the sales floor all the way down into your GL entry. So the system really helps you at every step of the way. And what this means is basically there is a drastic reduction in human error, notwithstanding my own silliness. And as you can see from how I demonstrated the drilling in of the records, everything is done in real time. So you'll always have updated information, and all the reports are drillable. So, really in closing of this order to invoice part of our demonstration, what the Acumatica system does is it eliminates silos, because you don't have to be working on separate platforms for separate functions. It's a very typical scenario where you have sales working on Salesforce, and then you have the accounting on their own accounting system. And that creates a lot of double entries. So using the Acumatica integrated system, then you actually eliminate all this need for double entry of one piece of data into different platforms. It saves you time, and which in turn would lead to an increased productivity and also accuracy in the data.